So good evening, everyone. So this is our Woman Today YouTube channel, and today our guest is Honorable Preet Johal, ma'am, and she is a self-discovery coach and relationship coach over here. So welcome, Preet Johal, ma'am, to this Woman Today YouTube channel. So once again, thank you for accepting my invitation and coming to this interview over here. So please introduce about yourself, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you so much, Krishna, for contacting me and giving me this opportunity for this interview. Yes, so I am a relationship and a self-discovery coach. I started my Instagram social media page just in April 2024, and I've received an overwhelming response. I have almost 40,000 followers on my page now. So this is great motivation for me to keep doing what I'm doing.
So how is your journey actually going, and at what moment did you decide in your life that you wanted to be a relationship coach in your life, ma'am?
So this happened after I went through my own personal self-discovery journey, and which started after my divorce. So I filed for my divorce or 6 years ago, and it was a lengthy process. And actually before the divorce filing, I was already on a personal discovery journey, because I've been in a very abusive relationship, and I sort of grew up in a dysfunctional household. In that whole chaos, I think I never knew who I was. From a very young age, I didn't know who I was. So my self-discovery journey probably began somewhere in 2016. And then after I filed for divorce and I was on my own and I was living in a more peaceful environment with my kids. And I think when I was in my own safe space, I started to connect with myself and started discovering all the things that are important to me, started realizing my value, my self-worth. And the more clear I got on who I am and what my values are and what's important to me, that led me into into coaching business. And at first it was not exactly a business. It was simply just working with other people, other women, and just helping and inspiring them. People would tell me I inspire them. So I think the feedback actually turned what I was doing into a business.
Yeah, actually, I truly understand that you're in a great path right now, and you're actually in a path that will always bring women towards their upper state in their life, because a lot of women today in modern society are facing a lot of issues and struggles right now, and most of the people do not know what to do the next time when these kind of situations happens in their life. And you're like the guide, and you are making them go in the correct way to be successful in their own life. And I do accept there are a lot of struggles in this life, and it's great to have you in the interview. I'm really overwhelmed. I do not know what to talk. I'm just struggling with my talk right now, because I do understand, because you just told me in a very single sentence that you have went through a lot in your life and now you're in the correct way, right? So people like you should always come out and help other women to overcome the struggles in their life. Like, you're now shining like a diamond actually, because to make a diamond, it should go through a very vigorous process in the life. Like, it will be like a very charcoal buried underground, and it will take very several years to come out. And once the charcoal comes out, we again have to go through a vigorous process in order to make a very successful diamond. So you're now Preet Johal, ma'am. You're a successful diamond right now in this world, helping a lot of people in this world. So that's what I'm trying to tell you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for comparing me to a diamond. Yeah, I think it's extremely fulfilling for me to be able to make an impact and a positive difference in other people's lives.
So, speaking about generally about a relationship, so how do you think that I can have a successful communication with my partner actually?
So communication, you mentioned the word partner, right? So communication is always a two-way street. It's not something only you can do. One person cannot just successfully communicate. Um, Communication requires, I think, a lot of maturity to have successful communication between two or more people. And it requires a willingness to do things the right way. And it requires some level of sacrifice if you truly want to be with the other person. And the sacrifice, when I say that, I'm usually not somebody who believes in sacrifice, but in a relationship, there's always give and a take, and it's supposed to be on both sides. So I think communication happens when both people are aligned on their values. They both value respect, they both value trust, and their lifestyles are aligned. That's the only time when you can have proper communication, because your values are aligned, your foundation is aligned. And if there's a mismatch there, I think it's not a communication issue. A
So,
lot of people might see it as a communication issue, but it's not a communication issue.
so even though we have a very successful communication, so once after we find a successful partner, please tell us the healthy signs of a good relationship. So what are the signs that we can see and we can verify ourselves that we are in a very healthy relationship with our partner?
One of the simplest and the easiest sign that you're with the right person and it's the right and a healthy relationship is when you can be yourself with that person. You don't have to adjust yourself. You don't have to change the way you speak. You don't have to change the words that you normally use. When you are with yourself at home or wherever, like the way you are with yourself, if you can be that person with your partner, that's the sign that this is a healthy relationship.
So the same words that you told right now are the words which are spoken by Bollywood actor Shah Rukh Khan, because once an anchor inquired Shah Rukh Khan that how should we be always presentable to women? So what are the things we should do in order to be liked by women? So the answer told by Shah Rukh Khan is a very simple. In a very simple way, he told that be yourself, because all women, even if you do anything, they will be judging you and they will be knowing you. So in order to be liked by women, be yourself. So that's the way women always judge people and they'll be able to come to know about the true yourself. So that's what you're trying to tell right now, ma'am?
Yes. I think authenticity is extremely powerful, and a lot of people are not connected with themselves, right? So they're just not authentic. But authenticity is extremely a powerful trait, in the healthiest trait one can have to form any relationship, not just intimate relationship. It's the same thing that's needed for friendships, for a relationship with your kids, because then you're teaching your kids how important it is to be authentic, and how important is it to connect with yourself.
So even after being a true person to your partner, so if one again wants to have some trust in the relationship, so what are the factors that you think that will build a successful trust in one's relationship? So what are the things that you think that it must be in a relationship? What are the factors that you think it must be in a relationship which will act as a trust factor in one's relationship?
Okay, when we speak about trust and from a perspective of a woman, it might be a perspective from a man, but I think it's slightly different. I think trust builds with feeling safe in a relationship. Safety is the number one value for any woman, I believe, in this world. If she's not feeling safe, it's not the right relationship for her. But for women, the definition of safety is slightly different. I think we as women refer to physical safety, emotional safety, but for men, it's not more like physical safety, but still emotional safety. And men also want to be with a partner where they can safely be themselves. So I think it begins with safety, and outside of that, trust takes time, and then trust has different layers to it. I don't think a moment happens, now we trust each other. Well, yeah, you trust each other at some point. And then as the relationship progresses with time, there's different deeper layers of trust. And it develops with each other's actions and true intentions for each other.
So before gaining some people's trust, we have to go through a lot of process in a relationship. We have to spend many days with our partner, and at this stage where we are just in a communication relationship with our partner, so it's like a budding relationship. And at this stage, what do you think are the most common mistakes that a partner do in their life, which brings some conflicts and which do not maintain a very healthy relationship? So what do you think are the actual common mistakes made by a common people in their life?
So you're referring to a dating process when people are getting to know each other?
Exactly. The same thing.
Yeah. So from my experience, common mistakes are rushing into a relationship. I've been there myself, just rushing into it because you meet somebody and you like them and they like you. But this liking each other happens at a very surface level. And we tend to get emotionally involved with each other before we actually got to know each other at a deeper level. And before we get to see each other in action as to how we live our lives, how we do things on a day-to-day basis, before we get to know each other's life goals or values or the goals or the lifestyle or what are we looking forward to, before we get to know the deeper sides of each other, we start investing each other at a deeper emotional level. I think that's the primary mistake that I've come across in my experience. Second one is oftentimes we meet somebody, we like them, and they like us. It's probably the surface level, just chemistry, right? So things just feel exciting. And then we do see red flags, but we overlook them. And then we start projecting what we want this person to be to be our right partner. We know it deep down that this person is lacking certain traits, but we'll start projecting and hoping that someday they're going to be the person that we want them to be, because we invest too early. Emotional investment happens way too early. I think these are the common mistakes that most people fall into.
Yeah, I actually do understand that these are the factors which we should follow in order to maintain a successful relationship. But please tell us, even after gaining some trust and maintaining a healthy relationship, people just part away in their lives because of very small matters. And tell us a good way in which a partner can be very successful in the relationship and maintain their spark in their life, because the only thing that will maintain a successful relationship is understanding. And what should one do in order to maintain this successful understanding, successful trust in their life, and maintain the spark in their long-term relationship till the end of their life? So what one should do in order to maintain the spark and have a very successful, healthy relationship, not only today, but till the end of their relationship, till the end of their life?
Yeah, so you're referring to like a lifelong relationship. You get married and then you have kids and, lots of
Exactly.
ups and downs in life. And how do you maintain that healthy relationship? So
Exactly.
that's a very good question. So we have to remember, let's just say a couple gets married in their early 30s or late 20s. We have to remember we're all going to change, we're all going to evolve. And just expect that. Don't expect that your partner to remain the person you met like 10 years ago. We're meant to evolve, we're meant to change. Change is going to happen. You're going to have maybe career changes, you're going to have kids, like right there, your whole life is going to change, the responsibilities change. Before kids, maybe your attention was on one another, then the kids become the primary people in your life. And then a lot of things happen, people move from one location to another location. And I think just understanding that changes are going to happen, and it's not always going to be exciting. um, and maybe there's not going to be a spark all the time. When people understand that and they respect that other people's desires and their aspirations, and just have a deep level of understanding and respect for each other's dreams and desires, I think that's what creates a healthy relationship. um, and then keeping boundaries, because we still need our personal boundary. Just because you're married for a long time doesn't mean you do not have your individual lives. You still have your individual lives. You'll have your individual life, with yourself, with your friends, with your kids, with your relatives, and then you have a life together that you share with one another and with the society and the kids and the family and the friends. I really think it's the knowledge and understanding of all these factors maintain a healthy relationship.
Yeah, in order to maintain a very healthy relationship, the factors which you are telling us right now is understanding and maintaining some boundary, fixing some boundary between our partners and maintain that boundary, because people always think that we are in a relationship for more than 20 years, and because of this we have to take some advantages, we take things as granted. So that's the very basic simple mistake which every people do in their life. If we set some
Right.
boundaries and if we understand the people, like changes do happen in our life, like during the 1990s people will be having only certain things in their life, they do not even have access to internet. And after
Hmm.
2000s people will be like they have access to internet and people are just going all around the world and people are able to know a lot of things about the world. So now in 2024 the whole a whole of lot of changes are coming and AI is coming. So with the small
Yes.
technology in the small this technological world, a lot of things happen, and people can't go back to the 1990s and they can't argue that okay, at that time I used to save all my data in my floppy disk, and now also I should always follow the same procedure and I should save the data in my floppy disk. People can't go and tell like that, because floppy disk can carry only a maximum 8 MB or 10 MB in one small floppy disk. But right now we can save 100 TB in one small pen drive. So that's how the technological world has evolved. So consider
Yes.
these kind of technologies are always made by humans. So
Yeah.
consider the changes in the technological world, it's very small when compared to the emotions, when compared to the healthy relationship, when compared to the trust factors. So it's coming like this, technological factors are
Yeah,
like
but we have to remember that humans are also evolving, right? As we're like you referred to all the technology evolution, it's humans are evolving as well, and people need to understand that. Especially like in our culture with in-laws and stuff, like they can't compare, oh, we used to be like that, and then expect like their sons and daughters or the in-laws to do that way. That's not possible. We're living a totally different lifestyle in a modern system. Women are working, there's different type of responsibilities. I think men also need to evolve. So yeah, you made a great point, because there's so much evolution happening right now.
yeah, I do understand, but a simple thing, changes people should accept. And people nowadays, even babies which are coming right now, the babies which are coming right now, they're called as gen, I think last decade was gen alpha. Right now it's gen beta, I think, if I'm right.
Oh, I didn't even know that. Okay.
Yeah, the first kid was in India. I think in Nepal. I do not know. I think it's northeast. So it's like they tell us Gen Beta. So these babies, if you just go and just talk to them like a very 5-year-old kid, they'll be very knowledgeable. They're just evolving. People
Yes.
are just, they're just shocked to see a very 5-year-old kid talk like this, because it's the evolution that we are seeing in this today's world. Like in
Yes.
1990s, people, whatever the knowledge they had in their 20s, the same knowledge people today, the kids have in their during their 9 age or 10 age. So
Right.
that's how evolution happens. So every person should understand that changes do happen in their life. The only thing we have to do is try to understand the person, try to understand what's actually happening in their life. First, try to have some proper communication with not only the partner, but with every people whoever we meet in our life. Because a relationship, not only a kind of partner relationship, even as a business professional, even as some kind of student teacher, even you consider any relationship in their life, the only basic thing, the only basic bridge is the communication. So like, if we have any kind of conflicts in our life, and if we are able to keep our ego aside, and if you are able to try to understand what's actually happening in our life, and try to just visualize and tell them, if we are able to successfully communicate with the partner, and if we are able to make them visualize what we are actually going through, and if we can make them feel, the feelings are very important. If one person, if one person's feeling is exactly understood by the other's person, then every problem will come to a end. So
Right,
that's
right. I think that requires a lot of flexibility. Like you said, in any relationship, this is, in the workspace, in your family, friends relationship, communication can only happen when you're a flexible person. You cannot, even the conflict resolution, I don't think any techniques will work when someone is so rigid. So I always see flexibility as a very attractive trait, because only flexible people can have the ability to move with the evolution that we were just talking about. When you're flexible, that's the only time you can understand, you have the capacity to understand other people.
yeah. Even after, if you have a successful communication, and consider two partners, if one of the partners just do one thing, just keep the ego aside, and if they are okay with having a conversation with the other partner, and if a situation arises, like the other partner is not willing to come and communicate, is not willing to come and address the problems in their life, and they are not willing to come and sort out the problems, they're just like, okay, we can just cut off our relationship from this point. And at this situation, how can I resolve these kind of conflicts in a relationship? Because one person is coming to have a healthy conversation, trying to find out what is the mistake that they have done in their life, so that the relationship comes to this point. And the other partner is not even trying to have a communication, because they have made their mindset like, okay, this is the end, let's have a breakup, or let's have this relationship come to an end. So at this point of time, how do you think this conflict can be resolved?
So, in order to resolve any conflict, people need to be willing to take responsibility and accountability for their part, whatever their part in the relationship is. If, like I said, if someone is so rigid and they do not want to take that accountability, they do not want to communicate, no one can make someone do something. I see that when someone, either they've just reached their limit and they're just done with, their partner, maybe they've had a lot, they've dealt with a lot, and now they've come to a point like any communication is useless. It could be that, or if somebody are just not capable of communication, or they're simply avoiding taking accountability for their actions. Right? So it's just one or the other. Either they're avoiding accountability, or they're just simply tired of communications in the past. Nobody can make someone do anything. I don't believe in that. I think the willingness needs to be, come within you. If you believe there's still some scope and there are right intentions for one another and to make the relationship work, that's the only time you can take other ways of resolving or conflict resolutions. Of course, you can go to therapy, you can talk it out with a friend or anybody you trust, but that only happens if you have the intention to resolve conflict.
Yeah, I think I got my answer, because right in the middle of the conversation, you told me that either it should be like because of the past things which had happened, they're just frustrated in their life and they're not able to continue with the relationship. So that's a said. That's a very healthy way that's a very healthy way in order to avoid some red flags in our life. And on the other side, which you told exactly, that people are not ready to take their accountability, because if people are ready to take the accountability, what the thing will happen is, if if they are very a genuine partner, they will be able to take their accountability. If they are not a genuine partner, then in order to avoid all those kind of things, in order to cut off the relationship, they just simply ignore, and they are not ready to come in, have a healthy conversation, because they know that they have some kind of flaws in the relationship, and generally they do not accept the flaws. And they very well know that if they accept the flaws and if they take everything into accountability, then the other partner will come to know that we are the red flags. So this is the thing.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the thing which makes them not to talk with the partner. And people like whoever, if they do not explain the correct factor which makes them cut off the relationship in their life, and people who just go and ignore all these kind of situations, then we should always remember that they are the red flags. That's
Yeah,
what.
no, it's important to know. You can't create a healthy, long-lasting relationship with just anyone. I mean, we just have to know that some people are just not genuine. There are some people they just don't want to be good people. There are people that are just selfish. It's important to remember that just because we made a mistake and we invested in someone, whether it's physically, emotionally, financially, it's a mistake. We don't need to continue. Sometimes the right thing is to move forward and make better choices.
So if one's partner is able to communicate with the other partner and make them realize that we have done some mistakes, and if the other partner is also accepting the flaws in their life, and if they are coming and if they are ready to continue the relationship, so even after having a very successful relationship, after conflict, there may be situations in our life that we may think like, okay, in the past year these kind of situations happened in our life which led to the conflicts. So even after a few years, we will be able to experience the same dramas, the same past trauma of having conflicts with our partner. So at these kind of situations, what one should do in order to forgive a partner in one's conflict? Because a conflict is something like a sun and the moon which comes every day in our life, because in order to live in this world, we should have both the night and the mornings. So in the same way, in order to have a relationship, conflicts will come, and also at the same time we will be having some blessings in our life. So both these things happen simultaneously in your life. So what one should do in order to forgive one's partner's conflicts. What are the major things which one should concentrate in order to forgive all these kind of things and have a healthy relationship?
Yeah, first of all, you shouldn't have the same conflicts over and over. I mean, that's a problem on its own. That means someone's not owning up to their mistakes or whatever, causing the conflict. Of course, conflicts happen. I disagree that they're always going to be happening. I think as the relationship progresses, you should have less conflict, because the more you're with each other, the closer you get to know each other. You get to know each other at deeper levels. You get to know each other's the triggers. You get to know each other's insecurities, weaknesses, strengths. Why would a partner say something or come across in a way to trigger the other partner to create more conflict? I don't think conflict are going to be at the same pace as they were in the beginning, because you're supposed to get to know each other better. You're supposed to be each other's support system, not expecting for more and more conflict to happen. So I think the focus needs to be more on getting to know each other genuinely and making effort to not do or say things that can trigger the other person.
That's I exactly understand. And so thank you, Preet, Johal ma'am, for having a very successful communication with me, talking about different factors in order to have a very healthy relationship in our life, because people do have a lot of conflicts in their life, and in order to overcome these conflicts in one's life and in order to maintain a very healthy relationship in one's life, people should always have some factors in their mind, and these kind of factors are very well discussed in this interview. So once again, thank you, Preet, Johal ma'am. So anything you wanted to tell us, or if you wanted to tell to this world through this interview, you can just tell to the world, ma'am.
Yeah, well, thank you for having me on your channel. Yeah, the only thing I want to say in when it comes to relationships is before you develop a relationship with anyone else or expect certain things from anyone else, make sure that you have the traits that you're wanting from the partner. So if you're looking for a trustworthy partner, make sure you are a trustworthy person. I'm a big believer that you must be what you're seeking. First, you must become what you're seeking. So work on your own personal growth, on your personal development. I think that automatically, in a huge way, will lead to healthier relationships.
So once again, thank you, Preet, Johal ma'am. This is Women Today channel. Please do subscribe to our channel. And today our guest is Honorable Preet, Johal ma'am. Please do watch this interview fully.